Greetings, YouTube. This video that we are about to discuss here is almost a year in the making. That might seem unbelievable, but ever since Symbiote Supreme was introduced into the contest almost a year ago. Can you believe it's almost been a year? I cannot. It's September next week. That just blows my mind. But basically, since October 2018, we have seen the rumblings of Symbiote Supreme, a champion that is already amazing and does not need to be awakened to be amazing. I'll have people who love the champion, but also, upon reading the description of the champion's abilities, believe that the champion is either bugged or nerfed. Because based off of the percentage listed in the description of the champion, the actual abilities of said champion don't perform to reflect the description of the champion. And we saw this before with Domino. And there was some confusion that Domino was going to be quote-unquote nerfed. That wasn't the case. This may not be the best analogy, but if you're a fan like me of Dragon Ball Z, it was almost as if the Domino that we knew in the game that was already destroying so many nodes, because Domino is one of the best champions in the game, actually was intended, based off of the description of her abilities, to be way, way more powerful. We think of Domino as like Super Saiyan, and Domino is supposed to go to like Super Saiyan 3. And so Kabam tested what Domino was supposed to be and changed the definition or description of her abilities, citing that she would be too powerful for her to justify being updated and buffed to her original accurate description of her abilities. And so they just changed the description. So fast forward to August, almost September of 2019, and we're going to start off the Symbiote Supreme Bugs forum post, and as always, I'll put a copy of this link. I'll pin it into the chat. I also want to state that this is page 7. It's page 7 in relevance because of a Kabam Mike comment that's going to be part of the main focus of this video. But Neo Twism writes, I realize this may seem like a non-constructive comment, and for that I apologize ahead of time. I feel like this issue has been ignored. This post alone has been going on since October 2018. It's almost a year later and nothing has changed. We have been told it's being looked into and that's it. There are numerous videos and screenshots in this thread proving, at the least, there is some kind of problem. We haven't even got confirmation that this is a known issue yet. We have waited almost a year and nothing has changed. These are basic features of the champ we are talking about. Can the community please know what we can do to help get this resolved soon? Do we need to post more videos and screenshots? What will it take to get Symbiote Supreme to work like he should? We aren't asking or wanting anything more than what his description states. Now see, that's the danger, because Kabam doesn't test their champions to reflect the description that their coders, their writers put in. And so it takes a year for them to even accurately test whether or not the champion is as advertised. And in any other line of work, like if you were to go to a grocery store, for example, and they said that something is on sale for $3, but really it was mismarked and the price should be $6. Well, that grocery store usually honors the fact that they screwed up and has to sell it to you at that price. May not be the best analogy, but basically when this happens, Kabam realizes, oh no, not only is the champion not working as intended for the description, but the description actually is going to make the champion even better, and the better the champion is, the more we're going to lose money, because the champion can destroy really hard content that we like to have cash grab nodes, as we all know, and we can't grab many people's cash if the champion works as they thought they should work. So oftentimes, Kabam won't even apologize, and they'll just say, we just need to change the description of the champion, and then everything will be good. Even though fundamentally what you're saying is everybody who put resources into either acquiring the champion or ranking up the champion was under a false pretense that the champion had abilities that they will never ever see. And that's the shade, right? It's that Kabam isn't honest, and it's ironic that we discuss that right now, because we're coming on the heels of them telling me in a private message, when I knew from the start it was doomed, that my content creator program application wasn't accepted because they only want to be as factually accurate as possible, and I, being a content creator, and my views do not live up to their factually accurate standards. Well, we have an example just this week, just within the last 24 hours, where they are changing the facts in order to make sure that they don't have to make a champion better, because then it will hurt their bottom line. So we're going to scroll all the way down. These posts are from August 17th and beyond, which is pretty dang recent, right? In fact, it's in the past week, because we're going to get to, on page 7, I know I'm scrolling through fast, but there really isn't a faster way or a better way, I think, to get to Kabam Mike's post. Keep in mind, people have been waiting to hear something about this since October of 2018, almost a year ago. And after all of the patience and all of these screenshots, right, all of the proof that Symbiote Supreme is not working as the description states that he should, hence what people were promised when they read the background of the champion and then spent hundreds, if not thousands, of units and actual dollars to acquire said champion and rank that champion up. Now we are finally going to, and this guy, shout out to this guy, Neo-Twism, because he is really spearheading and making sure he's holding Kabam accountable, as are everybody else in this thread. But here we go. Kabam Mike, August 23rd, right? Today is August 24th. So in the last 24 hours, we finally get an update since the thread started in October of 2018. Hey, Summoners. Very casual, Kabam Mike. Very casual. We wanted to give an update on some of the issues raised here. In the next game update, which I assume is going to be that first week of September, we'll be updating the description of Null's Shadow to clarify that well-timed blocks, aka parries, trigger stagger with a 50% chance despite the error in the description. This is the percentage chance that is intended for Symbiote Supreme. Now, I don't buy that at all. In fact, for a company that claims that they want to be as factually accurate as possible, whether or not you're in the content creators program or you're just a forum post commenter, why do I not buy that? Well, I think Kabam Mike contradicts the working as intended in the very next paragraph. After many back and forth conversations and tests, we had to make the decision to keep it as it is now, which is 50%. Any higher percentage would make Symbiote Supreme much more powerful than he already is in this area, which is not something that this champion needs. Why does this champion not need this? Because then their bottom line would be hurt. The champion sure could use it, because why not? I mean, they're buffing Human Torch, even though we've got champs like Hulkbuster and Groot that have desperately needed a buff far more for years. We apologize for the confusion caused by this description error. Kabam Mike, that sentence is, quite frankly, a slap in the face to people who have spent a year or almost a year of time sending you screenshots and videos of accurate explanations why the champion that they invested so much money and time and resources in was not working as you told them it should have been intended to work. So the confusion caused by the description error is really Kabam realizing that the champion is going to be too powerful to reasonably make much money off of summoners that have this champion ranked up. But that's a huge difference factually between stating, it turns out that he was bugged, but he's already so good that we don't want to return him to what he should be, and just stating it was always a description error. That's literally two separate things disguised and justified as one. Now, I do want to point out, if I'm reading this correct, and we won't know if this is 100% true or not, which is why, even though I have a rank 4 5-star Symbiote Supreme, which is pretty good, I don't have a 6-star rank 2 Symbiote Supreme or a 565 Symbiote Supreme like some of you watching this. So I plead with you to do some tests before you download the new patch in September to see if it's true that there's no changes, because that's what happened with Domino. There wasn't a quote-unquote nerf of the champion. It was just that that champion was always intended to be even more powerful than they were released to be, and Kabam did not want to actually return that champion to the description of their original release because they were afraid it would be too powerful. And when they say that, they're really talking about they're worried that they're not going to make money off of the people that already have that champion because he's going to clear the content too fast, and therefore no one will have to use potions or revives or units, and this is a for-profit company after all. So, if Kabam Mike is telling the truth, and a lot of times that can be a big if, like the whole Sentinel issue, which still grinds my gears, so to speak. Symbiote Supreme won't be touched, but with that being said, it's because the description has to change to half of what it was because the champion was not tested well enough before he was released, and it was the community that had to call this out for nearly a year for them to actually do something about it. This is a pattern of behavior, of course, with a company that oftentimes will save face by claiming description error, as Kabam Mike does in this post, over actually just stating the fact that they didn't test the champion well enough, and it turns out that that champion, as intended, is way too powerful given the quote-unquote balance of the game. Whenever they use the word balance, it usually means balancing their checkbook. These are the kind of videos that also are obviously why I'm not in the Content Creators Program, because I have no problem calling shade and trash, and deceit. I do feel a bit bad for all the people in this thread who spent so much time over the last few months trying to prove to them that actually Symbiote Supreme in their eyes deserved a buff to get to the accurate description that the champion was released with. He will never, at least at this point, get that buff. I do want to add a closing argument because speaking of a buff, there is one more paragraph to discuss. With relation to nullify not dealing damage at the beginning of a fight, this is an issue that the team is still investigating to work toward a resolution. We have been able to reproduce it, but the solution is a complicated one with many knock-ons to other abilities. While we are looking at this, it is not something that will be resolved in the next update. We appreciate your patience in relation to this issue. So that last paragraph is a completely separate issue dealing with nullify, not dealing damage, and that should mean that this champion will get some kind of quote-unquote buff because he's bugged and he's not doing what he should. But they're not really sure how to fix the bug, so who knows, it might be several months before we get an answer to that. It was almost a year before we got this post in the first place. That is a lot to digest, and hopefully I was able to explain it somewhat well enough for you to follow it. Again, this link to this forum post and all 8 pages of it will be on the pinned comment section of underneath this video for you to read in great detail. Thank you to everybody over the past year who sent this along. I think this was the right time to make this video. I know it's a little bit longer than my usual videos, but I wanted to take my time to give my own input and also just read word for word the facts, or what Kabam Mike claims the facts are of this. Quite a few people are not happy with this, as you can imagine. In fact, some people are reading this as two things: either that Symbiote Supreme is getting quote-unquote nerfed. I don't believe he's being touched. I just believe he should be much better than he is, even though he's already amazing. Or the second thing is just the usual being triggered now because description errors have become commonplace when Kabam is caught red-handed by not properly testing and vetting their champions before release. All right, that concludes this video, YouTube. Again, thanks to everybody who sent this my way over the past several months. Let's discuss this further and keep Kabam accountable, because when they talk about facts, they like to change the facts when it suits them, and that is the best way I can think of to end a video about a freaking description error.